Welcome to the Mound City Council meeting for Tuesday, March 25th. We are in council chambers, and please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Let's see, we have our agenda. Do we have any amendments?
We have an amendment. The two commissioners ended up with a scheduling conflict, and we're going to reschedule for probably the second meeting in April. So the presentation that was going to kick off the regular agenda can be removed.
Perfect.
Okay, for April 22nd.
Thanks for that.
Okay. I would take a motion to approve the agenda.
Second?
Actually, we're looking for a motion here.
Yep, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Not the consent agenda, just the whole meeting.
Oh, sorry, I'm
Yep.
here to do the consent
And then
agenda.
consent.
Approve the agenda with any amendments. I make a motion.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, that will carry. Next.
What, we gotta vote on
Get a
it.
vote.
Oh, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, now I can say it carries. On to the next. We have our consent agenda. Does anybody want to discuss or pull any of these items before we read them all off? All right, hearing none of those, would someone please read the consent agenda?
I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you.
I make a motion to
What?
pass,
Why don't you, I think we're gonna read it first.
First, we're going to read all the items, but nobody wanted to discuss or pull any.
okay,
Yeah.
so A, approve payment of claims. B, approve minutes, March 11th, 2025. C, approval of THC off-sale retail license. D, pay request number 4 in the amount of $10,749 to Concrete Construction for the downtown paver sidewalk replacement project, Group 2. E, approve resolution approving permits for 2025 Music in the Park, the summer concert series at Surfside Park Beach, and waiving fees due to public purpose of gathering. F, approve resolution approving permits for the 72nd Annual Mound Fish Fry and Dance on Saturday, June 7th, 2025, and we will be also waiving fees due to public purpose of gathering.
All right, I don't think we need a separate motion to approve the consent agenda. We just need a roll call.
No, we need a motion, you need to make a motion with a second, and then it's a roll call.
Okay, all right. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda, items A through F?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through F.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion further there? Hearing none, that will carry, and can we do a roll call vote for the consent agenda, please?
Yes. Councilmember Herrick,
Aye.
Councilmember McEnany,
Aye.
Councilmember Pugh,
Aye.
Acting Mayor Castellano.
Aye. All right.
Good.
Yeah, no opposed? All right. Then we will go right to number 5, questions and comments from anyone present for items that are not on the agenda.
We can probably hear a police report at this point, too.
Okay, so I'll move past number 5 then. It looks like we've got no one here, so, yeah, let's move to the police report.
Not a whole lot to report from the last 2 weeks. Everything is still as it goes around Mound. Everybody's kind of doing their thing. Just hasn't woken up from the winter time yet. To this week with spring break in the area, we did have a few things. Nothing serious. We had some trespassing and some vacant building that we're working on identifying the individuals now. We believe they're juveniles because no school's out right now and they're moving around, but our investigators are working on that to identify and correct the problem. partially it's because the building wasn't as secure as it should have been, so that's the issue, and hopefully we got things in place to correct it, so.
Is that a private residence or a commercial building?
A commercial building, a vacant commercial building that hasn't been in for a while, so it's been noticed here just recently. Other things, the weight restrictions seem to be pretty low-key. We had one in we just got one in Orno. So far is all we've got recorded as a overweight. But the guys are out, everybody, that day shift especially, they're all certified scales, so they're out checking and watching as much as they can for them. Other than that, it brings us to just last week, Orno PD, we did our first trimester in-service training, 2 days long, Tuesday and Thursday. They were long days for instructors and for officers. We got through it, no injuries, everybody seemed to have enjoy it and got refreshed on their skills, and now we're moving on into April. We'll be moving into our firearms training sessions throughout the summer and fall months. So training season's kicking off and we're going to be busy with a lot of that. So, and then Deputy Chief Whitkey want to remind everybody on 4/16 at 7:30 coffee with cops at Caribou. So we will be there with that. So other than that, that's all I have for this session.
On the 16th, 7:30 to what time?
I'm not, he just said 7:30 was
Oh, cool.
starting, so I'm sure it goes until when everybody kind of fizzles out, so.
Cool. When do the weight restrictions come off?
I believe that's determined by the engineer, city engineer?
State.
State engineer.
Okay.
So we don't get a say in it, just when they say they're done, and we pull them.
Thank you.
How's Onyx doing?
I think he's doing okay. I haven't heard from him since last week, so I'm assuming no news is good news, so. But it sounds like they're real busy, just learning the dog, so it's, hopefully, the week after Memorial Day weekend, he should be in service, running around. So I'll try to make a point to get him down here at one point here,
That
so
would
you
be
guys can
fun.
see him, so.
Sweet.
But, anything else?
Perfect. Not from me. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, did you have any questions on the speed trailer? I forgot about that. Sorry.
Speed trap.
We did put up a speed trailer. We did get some data. Nothing overly, I can give you this, leave this with you to look at. We repositioned them. One came down closer to like the Pine Street there, or Pine Lane, a little bit further back. These things have incredible range, so they're picking up a lot of data. So we weren't aware of that until we drove them ourselves and saw how far out they were picking us up, so. But if there's any, I should have some more data in about a week or so. He'll pull it again, and then I'll make sure he sends it to you, and it's in your guys' hands to look at, and any questions I can answer them.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
One thing about that report that was pretty interesting was the load of traffic that's running down West Edge. I mean, we thought it had increased, but it's definitely a pretty high number.
Not the speed, like the counts.
The
like-
actual number of vehicles that
Yeah.
came down the road, and that's just, it's only, well, it is reading both directions, actually, but I think the report that he's got only reads it when you're coming towards Bartlett, so it would be south.
It's a
Right.
good cut through.
It is, and it's very, very heavily traveled, and so.
We did.
Yep.
I don't
And
know
it's a
which
nice
one.
wide street. That's the
And-
good
Yeah, we've
news.
got a beautiful street. We've
First.
paid for a very lovely piece of pavement.
Right.
Right there. Okay.
All right, I guess I'll move on to number 7, award lift station bid.
Mr. Acting Mayor, members of the council, Brian Simmons, Senior City Engineer. I don't want to get between you and your svelte agenda this evening, so we will go quickly.
Excellent work.
What
We
you
was here
have-
for money.
what you have in front of you is the result of our continuing lift station rehabilitation and replacement program. Obviously, the one that we have for this year. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bids, I believe. Yeah. And that is a pretty good spread. We don't usually get that many. Did I miscount? It's 9. Numbers are at 7. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to do some engineering after this. Actually, we'll have Matt do it. We got 7 bids. Anyway, the thing I want you to focus on is not my miscount, but the fact that we have Widmer Construction in here, who has done a number of lift stations for us before. They're also the low bidder on the chomping at the bit to get started water main project. And so they're already going to be in town. That enables them to sharpen their pencil a little bit. And you can see they came in a little bit at $500,000. And that is quite a bit below the engineer's estimate. One thing I want to remind you all is that in these lift stations, that number there is not the total construction, because we procure some other city equipment outside of that, so we spend about another $130,000. And when I say we, I mean me and Jesse and Ryan. Ryan orders the pumps and some of the other things ahead of time, so the city procures some of those things outside of the construction contract, but that's still a pretty good number.
Yeah, and that was noted in there too. It was like an extra 130,000.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the average cost. I don't know that we have the final on that, because Ryan may still be getting the final procurement on that, but it should be close. And so this is the breakdown of the bids. We find Widmer to be a responsible and responsive bidder, and so we recommend award of this project to them. I believe that's on page 812. There is an accompanying resolution, but before I jump you straight ahead to that, I will stand for any questions.
Any discussion on number 7? All right. I didn't have any questions or anything. I guess I would be looking for a motion for a resolution on page 812.
I make a resolution, except,
Make a motion
oh,
You got the wrong.
I make a motion
for a,
for a resolution accepting bid for the 2025 lift station improvements project PW 2503.
Okay, we have our motion. Just looking for a second.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. We can move on to agenda item number 8, accept plans and authorize bid for CSAH sidewalks.
Mr. Acting Mayor, members of the council, Brian Simmons, Consulting City Engineer again. This action is the continuation of the sidewalk projects, and we've had a lot of discussion at this podium about, continuing and doing some cost share with Hennepin County because of the location of these sidewalks along County Road 15. I want to draw your attention to, Jesse, would you go to the second page? There's a breakdown. Now that we've finished with the design and refreshed all of the estimates, we are asking for permission to finish plans and specs, advertise for bid. I shouldn't say we finished with the design, we're working on the design. And they've updated the cost estimates to show the portions that Hennepin County has committed to. And I believe the initial cost splits for them were 500 and 220 for their various portions. And as you can see, we're anticipating to come in below that. So we won't have any issues with Hennepin County cost participation, or at least we're projecting right now that the project won't exceed their committed participation. And then you can see we've also got the city total there of $784,256. And just for what it's worth, we do always end up using the fixed soft costs, the actuals, when it's all said and done. Right now, that's just plugged in as a percentage.
These are concrete, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And a lot of it is, some of it is, I shouldn't say a lot, some of it is stamped and stained as well.
Fancy.
Well, we're replacing a lot of those dilapidated pavers.
Yeah.
I don't know if you recall, I know you sat through some of those meetings, but we had the palette up here of all the colors, and we selected what we wanted it to look like, and we chose what we were going to replace all of that. And we've been slowly picking away at it. And while we're doing that, we look a little bit like a patchwork quilt, because we have some of those pavers that still need to go, but we're getting closer with each and every
Stay
project.
consistent with the stamping, it'll all be, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep, no, we've not come back and asked for other opinions, because they're not welcome. We're sticking with those colors. I mean, I say that jokingly. If you told me to do something else, we'd for sure do it. But as for right now, we have a palette that will look very nice when we're
I would like them
done.
consistent.
Yeah, I like consistency too.
Can you
So-
kind of like reiterate the timeline for both I call it halves again?
The halves of the project.
Yeah, for lack of a better word.
I don't know that Matt put that in this schedule, and that's been a little bit of a Mr. Bauman thing.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers, like, I remember seeing that earlier, but like, just the timeline, a refresher for us and then anyone listening too, but,
In terms of when we're planning to bid it?
sorry,
In terms of when we're planning to bid or when we're planning to construct it?
construct.
Construct. I know we've had a lot of conversation about how this interfaces with things that are happening downtown during the summer and lake traffic and all of that. I don't know that I have the information you're looking for right off the top of my head, but I can
Okay.
make sure we get it to you, and we can make sure that it stands as part of the record.
Cool.
I apologize for that. And there is, if you're curious, there is a link in that, if you scroll back up just a little bit, Jesse, there's a link right there to the plans.
Okay.
And then all the cost breakdown, and accompanying that, we have another resolution, if there are no other questions.
Any
There's a
further
resolution.
discussion on agenda item number 8?
So this resolution is specifically receiving plans and specs, ordering advertisement for bids.
Okay, so no further discussion on number 8. I would entertain a motion for the resolution on page 816.
I can do that.
Thanks.
I make a motion to approve the resolution receiving plans and specs and ordering advertisement for bids for the County Road 15 sidewalk projects, Belmont to Fairview and Fairview to Seaton. Project number 2508 and project 2509.
Okay, we have a motion. Can we get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion carries.
Mr. Acting Mayor, while I have the mic, if I may.
Yeah.
You asked a question a little bit ago about road restrictions.
Oh, yeah.
With generally, they're only on for 4 weeks.
Okay.
But with the way the temperatures have been, it's possible that the state will end up opting to extend them. There is a statutory limit, I can't remember if it's 6 weeks or 8 weeks.
Oh, like
that-
it can
That they
only
will
go so long.
automatically expire at the end of that. And with how early they went on and the weirdness in the weather, it's possible that they will statutorily expire.
Cool.
But as for right now, they're still on.
Thanks.
And if we get any calls, about things this time of year, like, oh, there's a pothole, Ryan's guys will go and fill it. But stuff like gaps in pavement pulling away from curb or concrete, we don't look at that until road restrictions are off. And I don't
Okay.
hang my hat on the road restrictions, but the reason for the road restrictions is as the frost and the heave from the freeze thaw leaves the pavement, don't forget that asphalt is flexible. So it's moving, and so then in a couple of weeks, while, maybe the end of your driveway or something might look ugly now, it will change a little bit before we're done. And then that's when we will assess those types of complaints if we have cracks and things that need to be filled. So this time of year, we usually do get a couple that are, oh my gosh, this looks terrible. And then a couple weeks later, we'll go out and look at it and be like, huh, it looks
Yeah.
fine. I don't know what you're talking about, but we do track those.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we approve, number 8's done, it's approved. Agenda item number 9, council reports. We'll just go down the list here. Councilmember Pugh?
Gee, I'm trying to think, what did I do this week? Oh, okay, we did have Parks meeting last month, and we had a pretty lengthy one. Went through a lot of issues, had a discussion about what the council had discussed about the play area for Surfside versus the events park, but everyone seemed to agree that they felt it was working well where it was. We looked at, and actually Tyler tested it out in Victoria. They have what they call a Parks Passport, and families use it. It gives people incentive to go and try out the different parks and to rank them.
Cool.
So Tyler, because he's a new member and hasn't done inspections, he took his son and toured all the parks, and they ranked what they wanted. And we think it might be a tool that we could publicize in the future. Maybe, at Farmers Market, the Parks Commission for the last 2 years has been going one Saturday, being there with a map, showing where all the parks are, and soliciting people to adopt the park. And it might be an opportunity for us to try handing out this passport as a way to promote people looking beyond their own neighborhood park to go and visit. And along with that, I had something else around the parks. Gosh, going blank. Oh, we're looking forward to meeting with the council in April to talk about the parks and what we've done. And they had a lengthy discussion around determining the impacts of parks, especially what can we do with those parks where they're pretty much vacant lots, you know, could we do natural play things on those sites? One of our sites on the island, it looks like the neighborhood has turned it into a bike trail. You know, it's on Tuxedo, it's that long park there, and in the wooded area, there's a nice wood area, they've kind of got a dirtback trail going.
That's Swenson.
Not Swenson, it's before, if you're coming off of Enchanted and turning onto Tuxedo, it would be on the right-hand side, almost across from where that condominium project is.
Oh, yeah.
What is it, something Lakes or?
Villages of Island Park.
No, Pelican,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, it's probably just past Villages on the
Okay.
lake too.
okay.
So sometimes our residents have taken creative license.
They're using the park.
Yeah, and, you know, in the Sorbo Park, there's a structure up in the woods there that the kids have built. You probably are familiar with it. It's kind of like Huckleberry Finn's little shack up in the woods there that the kids have done over the years. So we're looking at ways to improve our parks, prioritize. We're going to be meeting with the Public Works folks to talk about sort of the scheduling out and the wayfinding signs, because we still are charged with doing wayfinding signs for the city. And so we're looking at that. And I think that's, SRA. We did get, for new members, we belong to the SRA, which is the Utilities Ratings Commission, and it's 30 cities, and we each put in money, and we hire an attorney and an engineer who help us battle cases against utility companies. And right now, we have a case against utilities for the fees that they want to charge for our outdoor lighting, which is sort of ironic. If I get the story straight, a couple of years ago, they encouraged everyone to go to LED lighting, and we did. And it saved us money, but it didn't make them enough money. And so they want to, you know, up the rates, and so we've been battling over that for the last couple of years. But anyway, they sent their renewal of our membership in that, and I don't think we have to vote on it, do we, Jesse? It's just automatic
Yeah, I think
that
it's
we
just,
pay it. It's 2 payments a year, it's $900. And each city pays based on its population. I think that's it. There's something I know I'm supposed to tell you, but I can't remember what it is. It'll come to me.
Today,
Oh,
or the Capitol?
oh, yeah, today at the Capitol, I was at a senior caucus day, and Senator Mitchell in the Senate did raise the issue that she has a bill that would allow municipalities to not have to pay sales tax on items they purchased for construction. So like for our construction of our water facility, we would be waived of all sales tax on all. It's a big savings, but it's not gonna make it go right now, but it is something that will have significant impact for us.
Every little bit helps.
But they've got to pass the bill, of course, and it's on the Senate side right now, and so we'll kind of follow that. I think that's it.
Okay. Councilmember McEnany.
Well, I've got some events to talk about. The West Tonka robotics team are advancing to the World Championships in Houston, April 16th. They spoke last year with us, and we're bringing them back when they get back from Houston. But they are just such a delightful group. They're just so awesome. They spoke at the WCC meeting last week. And I just wanted to mention that they are solely funded from donations and fundraising efforts. The school gives them nothing. So they do have quite a few costs. So if anybody is interested in donating, especially before they go to Houston, they can go to tonkabots.com and there's a little spot for donations. And we wish them luck in April at the World Championships. And then another reminder that Paul Falls is retiring, and his party is Wednesday, March 26th. He's been with Minnetrista for 31 years. 2:30 to 4:30 on Wednesday, March 26th. The West Tonka Baseball Night kickoff at Back Channel Brewing is Tuesday, April 1st, 5:30 to 8:30. There'll be a silent auction, raffle, food trucks. It'll be fun. Kick off spring. And then the Gillespie Center is hosting a paint and sip party. And that is April 9th, Wednesday at 6 p.m. It includes supplies and a glass of wine for $40. So that'll be kind of a fun event. And that's all I've got.
I think that'll be like a recurring thing, or is it just like the first one?
Well, I think it sounds like they're throwing a lot of mud at the wall to see what'll stick. And hopefully this will end up being something that people enjoy.
And actually, Gillespie, for the first time in years, is actually operating in the black.
Yeah,
Good.
Yeah.
Under Rhonda, she has really
she's a
done a
go-getter.
lot, little fundraisers in here and there. They're serving breakfast on Thursday mornings now, and as well as the lunch on Wednesday, so
Every Thursday.
it's good to see. Mhm.
It is good to see Rhonda, is really taking
She's-
such an
yeah.
initiative. And it really needed a new spark, so she is kind of a godsend over there.
It needed a leader.
They did, you're right. She's done a good job.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, Councilmember Herrick?
Nothing really new to report. I did meet with Jesse last week about the Economic Development Committee, and it was really just our initial meeting to discuss some thoughts and what we could and couldn't do, and we kind of went over that. One thing I did center in on is our image for Mound. I think that's a really important thing for the council to be aware of and make sure that we're addressing any issues that could help improve that. Laughingly, I was saying about the consistency on the sidewalks. I mean, that makes us look nicer when you drive into the community, and it's safety and everything else. So those are all things. I did a little research looking into like Hennepin County and the state and that stuff. And there's all kinds of economic development committees out there. And some of that we can actually leverage and reiterate. I'm hoping that we can actually do a separate page on our new website to kind of promote that we're open for business and things that we have available to our constituents and or people that want to come into the area. To make that a little bit easy and, how are we going to introduce them to our city, how it works, what we need, what we're looking for, that sort of thing. So it's kind of, we're still in just kind of coming up with a game plan at this point, so. But
Great. Thank you.
Awesome. Anything else?
Yeah, I remember my other thing.
Oh, yes.
Trees. This is more for staff. Metro Council, I think, is having a grant program, and we applied for this a couple of years ago, and we actually got a grant to help us remove ash trees that had the ash borer. And I think you can actually buy new trees too, which we need for our event park. So there's a webinar, I think, next week on, what they're looking for in the grants and everything. But I'd like to see that staff would follow through and look at that as a grant opportunity to fill in some of our needs. I know the money in the past was used, I think we took some trees off of one of the common sites where there was some dead trees or dying trees, and so it gives us a chance to manage our forest. I'm sorry, excuse me.
All right, well, I saw Jesse writing that down, but
Yeah.
the trees for the event
Yeah.
park are gonna be needed for sure. I don't know what kind is the best kind, but, anything else?
So who does, the boulevard trees, like you just mentioned, that when they die, who's responsible for fixing? Is that at Public Works? Is that the parks? Who owns those?
Oh, like
that
if it's on a
responsibility?
county road or something?
Well, like, let's just say right here in downtown.
Yeah, like County Road 110.
Because that is part of our
But
image,
it's like,
right?
yeah, I don't know, I always see Public Works seems to be doing it all.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It depends on whose right-of-way it is generally.
Okay.
I mean, did
I-
we plant all those trees?
Or like the trees that are in the middle, and then there's the
Yeah.
ones, like, I'm looking like, in my brain, I'm just looking at the post office, there's like the boulevard on both sides, and then there's also the middle, I guess I
Yeah,
don't know.
the ones in the middle.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't
you
know.
know, that we put Christmas lights on or that are dead and somebody ran over them.
Engineer, do you know?
Yeah, I'll come up with the microphone. So,
Hennepin County has gone back and forth on this a little bit. They would prefer to see us maintain those trees.
I'm
Even
sure
though,
they
even though the
would.
ones in the median, I believe most of those were, if they've survived, were planted when that road was reconstructed. So for the most part, it does fall to us.
Okay.
So that also means we get a little bit of leeway on what we want to put there.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's not bad, we can choose what kind of trees we don't want.
Yeah, and when it comes to things in the boulevard or in medians, we will have to have a discussion about sightlines and safety.
Right.
However, we want the community to be beautiful, so
That's.
we
yeah.
support it.
That's why I'm just bringing it up, because that is part of our image. You drive into town and what do you see? A bunch of dead trees, that's probably not a good image. It's well worth a couple $100 to plant a
For sure.
tree.
All right, anything else?
Nope.
I don't have anything myself, so I guess I'd move on to, number 10. Anything from, you guys?
No, I just, you've probably seen the signs that flushing of the hydrants will start in about a week, so.
It was the 1st to the 25th, I think.
Yep. There was some work today being done on the water tower that preempts the flushing, so if you noticed anything today, that was because that's just mandatory annual maintenance, which also was noticed and everything, so I know that's been a big priority of Ryan's to over-communicate, but we'll still field the calls like normal and encourage you to send anybody that contacts the council to the staff and we can, work through it. But trying to get it out there.
Cool.
So on that topic, I contacted Dustin this morning because on Granger Lane, they were up there doing something and it looked like in the sewer line, but it turned out it's Frontier adding new fiber optics. Do you know how long that's gonna take? He said they were in the, I just texted, so
Yeah.
he was saying they're gonna be in the area doing that. Is that like a 3-month thing, a 6-month thing, or, I mean, I'm just thinking maybe we wanna communicate that in the newsletter. If
Sure.
We're gonna have them in, because they've been out there twice in the same spot, and that's why I contacted him. Like, what's going on?
I do not know how long they're gonna be here, but we can at least try to get an estimate. I mean, they might not know either, but.
Just trying to help you field those questions, you know,
Right.
and get ahead of it.
Well, yeah, I know, and it's always
It's hard, I get it.
right, and, they have subcontractors that have different schedules and things too, but hopefully they're in a hurry, because I know upgrading internet is usually, well-received. So, yeah, we'll see what we can figure out.
It's a lot of noise, yeah, it's a lot of noise at 8 o'clock in the morning, so.
That's,
And now that you work at home.
I know, I'm
you're
like,
aware of
"Roar,"
it.
I hear this, "Roar," and I'm like, what is going on? Yeah, so anyway,
Yeah.
first time was one thing, the second time was the other.
Well, speaking of trees, one of the concerns I've had, and I've raised this before, is last spring we had a storm and there were fires on our wires from trees that were rubbing against the electrical wires. And I don't know, how do we make sure that Excel is addressing that? To get those tree limbs cleared away from the wires. The reason I think we're gonna be in a drought this spring. And if we have a storm and it lights up, we're a forested city. We could be in LA very easily. And not that I'd want that on us, but, but if Excel could, if we could put some pressure on them to make sure that they're cleaning up the trees that are entangled with our wires. it would be.
Yeah, I think for the most part, they have prescribed maintenance that they do every year, but we pass along concerns and complaints that I seem to recall them eventually showing up last year and doing some work, but.
They did a lot on West Edge, I think, and up in Bartlett, but
Yeah.
I'm guessing it just takes an ask, you know,
Yeah.
like maybe twice.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it.
All right, anything else at all? Okay, we've been given minimal chances to mess this up, so with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
And a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
I.
Aye. Those opposed? All right, we're adjourned.
This is lovely.